Now, child marriage in West and Central Africa is one of the biggest challenges in the region and has enormous adverse effects on education, health, including sexual and reproductive health, and the overall development of adolescents and youths. According to UNICEF, child marriages are declining, but not in Africa. News Centre's Bettina Nwelih tells us more in this report.
When a girl is forced to marry as a child, she faces immediate and lifelong consequences. Her odds of finishing school decreases while the chances of experiencing domestic violence increases. She is more likely to become pregnant during adolescence, and young teenage girls are more likely to die due to complications in pregnancy and childbirth than women in their 20s. There are also huge societal consequences and higher risk of perpetuating intergenerational cycles of poverty.
A percentage increase, or reduction in the case of child marriage, is a good thing. But the number of girls coming into that category has increased exponentially. So the national figure disguises regional disparity.
A report by the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has predicted that Nigeria would have 29 million child brides by 2050. The report, a part of 3 reports on how poverty affects children in Nigeria, was launched by the Vice President Yemi Osibanjo in conjunction with UNICEF to observe 2022 Children's Day. The report put Nigeria's current number of child brides at 22 million, which it says represents 40% of such cases in West and Central Africa. It, however, further predicted that 7 million more child brides will be added by 2050.
The activity of marrying girls very young is condoned by the women themselves, old women in the villages. The education is very, very important. They should rise against this. But even more important is the issue of men, men who look at some of these issues, although they seem to be favoring men in the villages or even in the towns, but to rise up and say it is wrong. You cannot marry children at that very, very early age. So it has to be a partnership between the men and the women.
While the prevalence of child marriage is decreasing globally, in many places, progress on ending this practice remains too slow. In order to finally end this practice by 2030, the target set out in the Sustainable Development Goals, progress must be significantly accelerated. Without further acceleration, more than 150 million additional girls will marry before their 18th birthday by 2030. For Africa, it is another clarion call that child marriage, which threatens girls' lives and health and limits their future prospects, is reviewed. Bettina Nwelih, reporting for News Central.